Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Good morning, everyone. It's 8 o'clock. And first and foremost, my apology for the technical difficulties yesterday. I wanted to use this as a second chance to communicate with all of you and make sure that my message is heard, and also give you an opportunity to interact while limited through this medium. The good news in all of that is also, after you say something, you realize what you haven't said. And so I'm able also to improve on my message that I had yesterday, and that is also posted, by the way, on YouTube. And I know some of you have watched that YouTube video as well. And here's what I forgot yesterday. Very importantly, I needed to thank all of you for voting for Measure G. Between the last time we met and today, believe it or not, we had a Super Tuesday here in California, and it seems like decades ago. But the voters voted in favor of Measure G with 63%. And that is very much appreciated. And last but not least, looking at where we are in our economy right now, in our city finances, that $0.005 of additional revenue that directly goes to the city of Monterey will certainly be helpful for our fiscal situation. So thank you to all of those who have voted to approve Measure G. Yesterday, I gave a quick outline about what we have been doing, and I want to repeat some of those things that I said yesterday because I think they are worthwhile sharing again. Our city early on started preparing for a possible pandemic outbreak of COVID-19. Early on, our team started working on continuity of work program, which meant basically that we identified who are our employees that we have deemed as essential. What are the functions that we need to continue during this crisis? So we knew that sooner or later we might get into a situation where we had to execute that plan. And our department heads, together with all of our managers and employees, very rapidly developed a plan that ensured that the city was able or is able to continue working. That all happened probably 3 to 4 weeks ago, when we started discussing what shall we do, watching the various scenarios across the world, across the globe, and realizing that there is a real possibility of having something similar here in the States or in California. So from that point of view, we were very well prepared to mentally face those challenges. When the pandemic actually started to happen in the city of Monterey, we were ready to declare an emergency. And with that, we were able to act a little bit faster, a little bit with a little bit more power assigned to the city managers, to allow us to regulate, make decisions quicker, and not always required to have council's approval for certain actions. So the declaration of emergency was declared by me and then was ratified the following Tuesday by our city council. We set 3 priorities for our city during the initial phase of our emergency declaration. It was basically the first priority was maintenance of the public safety for our community, as well as maintaining the safety for our first responders. It's very important for us to have public safety fully functional. Public safety includes fire, it includes more than ever police, as well as part of our public works crews. So priority number 1 was public safety. Priority number 2 was to ensure that we remain open for business. We wanted to continue to be responsive to our residents. Believe it or not, we still receive calls about potholes, or about traffic lights out, or about somebody who, in the neighborhood who has an overgrown bush, and somebody else wants that bush to be trimmed. So we wanted to remain responsive to all those requests, whether they came to planning or building inspection, to public works, to the attorney's office. We needed to stay responsive. That was priority number 2, maintain responsiveness to our residents. After all, we are here to serve. We are public servants. Number 3, pandemic outbreak. We immediately created last week, Monday, an economic recovery team. We put this together with the help of the chamber, and actually we suggested to the chamber that they will become the lead of the business recovery operation. And the chamber embraced that challenge and has stepped up to the plate. And the chamber is now leading the effort to come up with solutions to help our economic recovery. Last week, Monday, we started that immediately. A couple of days later, I believe it was on Thursday, the chamber had put together a business roundtable where we discussed with other business leaders, such as bankers, property owners, large employers, hoteliers, restaurant owners, where we discussed measures how we can help our economy. And when you look around, you will realize that we don't have a lot of business going on right now. And so it was very important that we are preparing for the day after the shelter-in-place orders are lifted, or for the day after we realize life can be normal again, that Monterey is ready to operate. So these were the three priorities that we created: public safety, City Hall fully responsive to requests from our neighbors and residents, and third, start economic recovery. That was last week, Monday. On Monday this week, we added a fourth priority to our tasks, which is restore normal work. Go back to all the work that we haven't touched since the outbreak, or since we were ordered shelter in place, etc. What I mean by that is our team is now ready to work remotely. A lot of our employees work out of their kitchens, living rooms. I've seen garages rigged as a new office, and I want our staff to work under this new normal again. So we instituted this week, go back to business as usual, where we fully understand that usual is written with quotation marks, but we want our team to work again on initiatives such as environmental initiatives, such as checking plants, working with developers who brought us ideas for developments, etc., etc. So this week, the fourth priority is continue working on the projects that we semi-dropped when we started talking about COVID-19 and when we went into shelter in place. Around all those four priorities, our EOC is staffed. Our EOC also works remotely, but our EOC is staffed at mainly all levels now. We have the logistics section working hard to find supplies for our first responders. We have the care and shelter function working out issues around the topics of care and shelter. We have a bunch of planners working in the intelligence section, trying to just keep up with all the information that we receive from the federal government, from the state government, from the county, as well as going on to intelligence missions where we just need to know who does what, when, how prepared are they. That's part of all the work that the intelligence section does. We have the finance section activated because, as you can understand, there are costs associated with everything we are doing, and we expect that part of the cost will be reimbursed through FEMA. So we are tracking all our activities, COVID-19 related as such, and try to work or try to have accurate bookkeeping, ongoing bookkeeping. So the EOC operation is an operation that right now works 7 days a week, also Saturdays and Sundays, and we are trying to stay ahead of many of the most recent developments. What I shared with you yesterday is we need to respect the shelter-in-place order. The County of Monterey issued a clarification 2 days ago that we have posted also on our website, which basically explains in greater detail which businesses have to be closed. But what shelter in place also means is you shelter in place. You try not to engage your neighbors through face-to-face communication. Engage your neighbors through a phone call. Use the Google suite and do Google Hangouts or FaceTime or Skype, whatever is out there. There are a lot of opportunities. Always maintain distancing of 6 feet. Exercise is still encouraged by our Monterey County Health Officer, Dr. Moreno, but maintain social distancing and I would ask you to consider not using the rec trail, because the recreation trail can become one of those trails that the governor Newsom points to when he says that people still not take the warnings seriously, and he points to pictures of overcrowded beaches and parks. The recreation trail is very popular for right now. I would just also encourage everyone to take a stroll in the neighborhood, walk around the block. You can do this 4 times, and you get the exercise in as well. The other element that I wanted to talk about is the grocery stores. We reached out through the chamber also to the grocery stores early on, and we tried to spread the information as soon as we got the information, which is the grocery stores are daily supplied by their by their logistics chain. There is no interruption in the logistics chain. There are enough groceries out there. So if you can limit your shopping to what you just need, that would really help all community members to get what they need to buy. The California Grocers Association created a campaign that they call Buy Smart, Don't Overfill Your Cart, and we're trying to promote this campaign as well. Let me talk about the city finances, and then Presser, thank you for your question. I will try to weave my response to your question into my explanation. The city finances are, of course, in trouble. We met also early on, the finance director and her assistant finance director and I, and we met and we discussed what are the next steps we want to do. We decided that it is very important to create a correct projection of our fiscal realities. Now consider that 3 weeks ago we still probably had a convention in town, and we still had tourists in town, and today when I look out of the window, there's really not a lot of movement, which is totally fine because we have to respect shelter in place. But since we are so heavily dependent on tourism, our revenues will take a huge hit. So what we decided is that we need to really create a conservative and honest estimate of our future finances. And we are working on 3 different scenarios, which is like worst 1, worst 2, and worst 3 scenario. And we try to project where we are in July, where we might be in October. And based on that, we will try to we will present to the council options on how to mitigate those negative impacts. We are not rushing that process. You see other cities that go in front of their city council and say, we stop the CIP process right now, and that's $600,000. Well, we can do the same, but we can do the same also at a time when we really know when we really have a better understanding of the economic realities. So you will see us bringing something back to the city council by April. At that time also, we will understand better how the federal stimulus bill will wash out for local governments. The stimulus bill that will be passed today by the United States Congress does not allocate funding to cities of the size of Monterey. The stimulus bill contains funding for cities of 500,000 people and more. It contains also elements of funding for economies which are in distress. Now, hospitality industry for sure is in distress, but so is everybody else right now. But there is, Dan Presser, no direct federal stimulus money going to cities like us. However, what we expect and what we learn also from the National League of Cities, that states will receive additional funding to be then dispensed to cities smaller than 500,000. So federal money is not directly allocated to cities like Monterey, but federal money is allocated to states, and the National League of Cities believes that that money allocated to the states will be then distributed by the states to cities smaller than 500,000. Having said all that, going back to the information about our own fiscal realities, we still have cards to play, and we will propose for sure that we will stop the NCIP program for the time being. We cannot afford right now to allocate around $4 million to the NCIP program. We will propose to the council to take that money. And I think it's in the best interest of the community right now to look at that option. We will also look at the other CIP program that we have budgeted for, and also try to find ways of preserving that money to rescue our revenue picture. That's another $1.4 million that we have. Of course, CIP is not just luxury projects. It contains a lot of public safety and health programs, and we have to look at that as well and use that funding. So there are other options out there that we will look into for 21. In April, we will bring that package back to council. I will ask I will ask you to ask me questions if you can. I will just wrap it up right now, but if you have questions, please send them to me. What else are we doing? You see that our sports center is closed, but we offer virtual classes. You can work out with the instructor online. The library is open. No, the library is closed, of course, but the library is still conducting business. We are reading to kids. We are promoting various ways of using our books, downloading them, audio books, doing other, having access to other tech, multimedia through the library website. We do a daily call with the media. It's very important for us to share our messages with the media, and that messaging goes out every day at 11 o'clock. We have a media call, and the media is very receptive. And if you read the Herald every single day, Dennis Taylor reports about events or facts that we have shared with the media. So I recommend for daily information also use the Monterey Herald. They are participating in the city's daily media brief every single day. But also other media participating are the weekly, KAZU, Voices of Monterey Bay, KSBW, KION, and Univision. Not all of them every single day, but for the most part, these are the media that are playing with us. The other element that we do every single day, our public information officer, Lori Huelga, is sending out sometime between 5 to 7 p.m. at night a daily COVID-19 update from the city. And we keep it brief. We want to keep it brief because everyone is reading so much already about it. All the channels and on TV are talking about COVID-19. And our messaging does not need to amplify or does not need to overflow you with information, but we want to tell you in those updates what is important from our point of view. So please, if you haven't signed up with the city, tell your neighbors, tell yourself, sign up with the city and try to get our information. We have also a website running for, I think, almost 3 weeks now. That is called monterey.org /COVID-19. and take a good look at that. And you'll land on that website when you directly type in monterey.org, and you see the big button there that leads you to that website. My last point is in all of that, information overflow, and all of the data that is being thrown at us through the media, what I find very important is also to just disconnect. And it's important to take care of yourselves. It's important to take care of your family. And it's important for you to create a new routine. Since we are sheltered in place, a lot of our day-to-day routines have changed. Create the new routine, and in that routine, find your peace, find your spot where you can disconnect, where you don't need to read on any social media platform the next scary news. I described it yesterday. It's anywhere between watching CNN and watching the Christmas movie-thon on the Hallmark Channel. In there is the sweet spot, maybe a reality show like Below Deck, or whatever you want to do. But find that peace, that calmness, read a book, go out and enjoy the sun like I did yesterday at lunchtime. It's there are a lot of good things out there, but you got to take care of yourself. So I don't see any more questions on the screen right now. Let me close up by letting you know the city is fully functional. We are here to serve you. We have set the course. We are following that course. We don't know exactly where the ship which port we will end up in, but we have set the general directions. We are taking care of our community. You take care of us. We take care of you, and we are looking at the fiscal realities. We are trying to jumpstart our economy. And at the end of the day, I think we will be coming out of this with a strengthened understanding of what is relevant for our community, and also understanding that this was a huge challenge that this generation never faced before. And we met the moment, as the governor asked us to do, meet the moment. We met the moment head on. So with that, I switch off now. I thank you that you tuned in this morning again, and wish you a safe day. Stay healthy, obey shelter in place. Thank you so much.